Prevence Podcast.
Hi, everyone, and welcome again to the Prevence Podcast, the podcast where we invite our guests to talk about their work and lives before the backdrop of digitization and connectivity. I am in an extremely cheerful mood today because our guest is, first of all, an extremely cool person and also very high profile. Her name is Alisha Andert, and she was, until shortly, head of legal innovation at Chelvalier. She is acting chairwoman of the German Legal Tech Association and actually a lot of other things as well. Maybe I'll just start off like this. Hey, Alisha, what's going on?
Hi, Daniel. How's it going? I'm doing great.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We're super happy to have you here. Alisha, I'm gonna start with a very abstract question. What is it exactly that you do?
That is a very abstract question. I mean, right now I'm talking to you. In general, I'm a lawyer, but I'm assuming that you would like to know a little bit more about my functions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, as you already said, I am the acting chairwoman of the German Legal Tech Association, but I am not making money doing that. So my actual job is I'm co-founder and head of business development of This Is Legal Design.
Cool. I'm just gonna hook into the German Legal Tech Association at first. I have in my notes that it was a couple of weeks ago, but I think at the point where we stand at the moment, it might already be like a month or two ago. The German Legal Tech Association launched their first recurring clubhouse talk. Can you give us some details, or maybe the listeners that haven't had a chance to tune in, what exactly goes on in those talks? What you guys talk about?
Yeah, so we started this format. It's called Rechtsmarkt neu gedacht. So it means rethinking the legal market. And the core idea of the whole format was to give some visibility to the people who are part of the Legal Tech Association and to show people what our goals are, what we're trying to do, and also to just show our members in general. And I think you're speaking of the very first format where we really introduced ourselves to the public because, of course, you hear the German Legal Tech Association, you don't really know what's going on. People are interested. What are we doing? What are our goals? And so we really wanted to use that new platform, Clubhouse, to give some insights into that.
Right. The last time we interviewed somebody was Robbie Boucherie here from Cologne, and we also sparked the question: what do you think of the Clubhouse format? Because it's been notorious. I mean, first of all, it's been really, really successful, right? But at the same time, it's been getting a lot of hate. Rightfully so, if I may say so, as someone who does not use iOS. I'm more an Android person myself. Is the Clubhouse format? Do you think it's something that is here to stay, or is it like a fashionable appearance, like the internet back in the 90s or the automobile back in the 1900s? I don't know. What's your take on that?
So first of all, I'm completely with you on the Android side. I'm also one of those very few, very last Android users. So at first I was giving it a lot of hate. What is Clubhouse thinking to exclude half of the population? This is when this is when I realized that we're not half of the population, Daniel.
Same. Oh my God, right. I remember because you guys did it really well because you also had like a Zoom room for like the non-iOS conformists. And I'm like, nice, that's exactly where I'm going to hang out. And I was thinking, of course, it's going to be 50-50. At the end of the day, it was just like me and 4 other people in that Zoom room. And the thing is, I couldn't see how many people were actually in the Clubhouse talk. Like, how was the
It was more than 5. It was around, I think, 60, 70 people.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay.
And to be honest, I have to say, I think this is the actual ratio between Android and iOS users. I wouldn't have thought so myself because I never thought that everyone has an iPhone by now. But it seems like our bubble, at least, are heavy iPhone users. And so is probably most of the people who were targeted with Clubhouse. I guess they actually knew their target group really well, and it wouldn't have made sense to go into Android right away. But your question was, do I think that this is here to stay, or is it more a fashionable thing? I mean, I think by now, I think those questions that you wrote down there are already like at least 2 or 3 weeks old, and I think by now we can already tell that Clubhouse has definitely lost its very first hype already. I think the 2 first weeks were extremely hyped. This is the 2 first weeks that I missed completely because I had to borrow an iPhone.
Same. Yeah.
It's true. I'm still an Android user. I borrowed an iPhone just for Clubhouse because I realized this is something where the bubble is meeting and I have to get into it. And I thought it's also a nice way to have discussions in a sort of public format. And I think this is also what's going to stay, but not on a regular basis. So I don't believe in recurring formats that are happening every week. I think we can already see by now that people are just going on there for specific events. And this is how we are also moving our own format. So we started on a weekly basis. Now we're moving into a bi-weekly basis every 2 weeks. And then after that, we're going to use it as a platform for discussions that we advertise on our other channels. Because I don't think that everyone is just going to go on Clubhouse and be like, "Hey, I just want to know what's going on today." This is not the wave.
Yeah. Do you still have the option for Android users to listen to your Clubhouse talks at them? Yes. You still do. See, kudos to you for doing that. Okay,
of course. I mean, I think me as like a legal designer, one of our core ideas is to work user-centered and also to be inclusive. And I think from my own user perspective, I just had the experience that it's really shitty to be excluded from something like that.
Thank you. Right. Exactly my thoughts, 1-to-1. Oh my God. Yeah. So interesting take, and as I just said, is completely what I think as well. But yeah, I think the reality is that, well, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just our bubble. But the more I talk to people, the more I think there's no way around. At least we use a Mac at work, for example, and it's getting more and more box in effect or not. They are kind of taking over the market. But all in all, I think it's extremely important to still leave the option open for people who would just say like, hey, I don't want to buy an iPhone just to take part of that Clubhouse talk. I mean, it's not like an essential item. It's not like I'm going to go out today and just buy myself an iPhone like I buy myself a household appliance or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, this is really just a brand thing.
Yeah.
I'm refusing.
Exactly, right. Vehemently refusing. That should be that's what we're doing. No, so, right. Circling back to the topic at hand, so to speak. So, what is why do so many states, or basically, let's focus on Germany. Why does Germany in particular need an institution like the German Legal Tech Association?
So we were thinking, who is right now representing lawyers and legal professionals in Germany? Let's look at it. It's basically 2 main institutions. It's the German Lawyers Association, der Deutsche Anwaltsverein, and then we have the German, what's that called? German Chamber of Lawyers, Bundesrechtsanwaltskammer. I think that would be the right term for it.
Yep. Perfect term. Yeah.
So those are like 2 institutions, which are first of all focusing on lawyers. So we're already excluding, just like we're excluding Android users from Clubhouse. I
feel like this is going to be a recurring theme in our talk here.
So we're already excluding quite a large group of people who are also contributing to the legal market and especially to the digital transformation of the legal market, just by the institution itself. And second of all, sadly, we have to say that those institutions have been really resistant against new technologies and against new developments on the legal market in Germany. They're sort of conservative and really skeptical about any legal tech movements. Whereas we believe that the legal tech movement is not going to go away. This is just the natural path of digital transformation that the legal industry is also part of. And B, it's really great. It's something that helps a lot of people, that helps clients, that gets people access to justice, that helps also lawyers to transform their businesses into more sustainable and matterful businesses. And so we just thought that this legal tech movement in general needs a representation. And this is what we did. But also, what we thought is that we need to have a platform, a better network for people to come together to keep on working on this transformation process. And we don't think that this is just happening by having lawyers sit together. So one core idea is to bring different disciplines together, having an interprofessional work on the digital transformation. And this is why we thought, if we just have institutions that only represent lawyers and that only bring together lawyers, or institutions that only bring together startups or only bring together insurances, this is just not going far enough. So we need to have an institution that's bringing together all stakeholders that are part of this digital transformation process. So to have legal insurances, law firms, startups, software companies, having all of these come together and work on this broader vision of a digital market.
Right. And as I would think, I think also something that I picked up in your very first event. You already have like quite a plethora of members, actually, right? And a person, I might naturally assume that most of them come from the area of legal tech, but is that the case actually?
So I think all of them are sort of part of the legal tech sector, if you want to say so. But it's definitely not just legal tech startups. We have those traditional, I would say, classic legal tech startups that everyone knows, like Flightride and Right Now. Those are just, consumer claim companies. Of course, we have those. This is sort of also where the whole development started. But we have so many other players, just like I mentioned now. We have legal insurances. We have software companies that are developing legal technology for law firms or for legal departments. Of course, we have law firms on board to want to innovate their business model, to want to become more digital. We have content houses. We have Soldan on board because, there are so many fields within the legal field that are all affected by the digital transformation of the legal sector. And they all have different issues, but I think we share a broader vision. And this is why it's so nice to have really different players and not just lawyers or just startups.
Right. Absolutely. And let's say now that you have like this myriad of members, everyone from a different sector, so to speak, but with all this common goal and this common vision, what goals does the German Legal Tech Association have for all these people? Like for example, in regards to thought leadership, what are your goals?
Mm-hmm. So one big thing that we would really like to change is to become a better idea of what the legal needs on the market really are.
Right.
So,
awesome.
Because really, when we look at it, no one really knows what's going on. No one has any specific data on what is really needed. We speak of access to justice. We have some assumptions. We have some ideas of what's going on, of why legal tech startups are more successful in some fields than law firms, because we have this cost-benefit ratio that is sort of out of hand. We have some ideas about that. We have no data, almost nothing.
Right.
We don't know what companies are looking for. We have no unmet legal needs studies. This is something that we would really like to bring some light onto, to understand the issues on the legal market and what is really needed. And then as as the next step, we want to develop solutions. And to develop solutions, we need to have more freedoms, because right now we have a really restrictive law that is not helping in many ways to come up with new models. We also need to work on our general mindset, and we would like to bring some light onto that as well, to help lawyers, legal professionals, to help the industry understand also what chances digitalization, technologies can bring to us. So we also see this as a really important task of us to help broaden the mindset of legal professionals.
Cool. Super exciting. This next question is actually, the next question I wrote down is, which events are you guys planning for implementing them? And I think you guys are already implementing them a lot along through the Clubhouse talk. But do you guys have other things planned? Do you have something down the roadmap that you'd like to share?
So we do have a lot of events planned. Most of them are internal. So the Clubhouse event is one of those that is a public event. So we wanted to have both. We want to have some events that are just for our members. Of course, there needs to be a reason to become a member of the German Legal Tech Association. So this is one thing that we do. We have it's called Legal Tech Brown Bag lunches. That's like a lunch format where one of the members is always sharing a best practice in a certain field, and everyone can ask questions, of course, and just come together. We've also just quite recently had an event where we had a panel discussion comparing leadership styles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We had a little debate between a law firm leadership style and a startup leadership style.
Oh, I can imagine the debate on that. Oh my God, I can imagine that there was a lot of. How was it? Was it good at the end? Do you think it was like valuable input, or was it more like the startups and the law firms going at each other like, no, our leadership style is the correct one for
Actually, I think it was a little different than you would have thought, because we also saw a lot of things that they had in common. And I actually personally had some interesting intakes on leadership in law firms that I hadn't thought about before, sort of making me understand a little better why they do what they do and how they do it. So I can share one of those insights with you, maybe.
Gladly.
That's something that my co-chair, Philip Plog, actually entered, because he is managing partner of a big law firm. He also personally felt attacked with some of the statements. But he actually said something that I really liked. So in law firms, what's really special is that you can have leadership on eye level, because partners are owners of the firm, whereas in other companies, that's usually not the case. And this whole argument of being on eye level with partners, I really hadn't looked at it that way before. However, I also said that the critiques about leadership in law firms is usually not about the partnership level with each other.
That's what I just wanted to say. Right, exactly. What does the associate say? Like, the partners get along well under each other. Okay, nice, good for them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And there also I had a nice reveal, let's say, understanding why they are so specific and strict about punctuation. I mean, I like grammar and punctuation. I don't like any mistakes on that. But if someone makes mistakes, I would not freak out about it. Whereas I know law firms where someone is really tearing you apart when you're missing a comma. And
not just law firms.
Not just law firms.
Generally, yeah.
So the thing is, like, that's also something that was revealed to me on that panel was, well, this is for the clients, because clients don't understand anything that the lawyer is writing in their documents, but they can read and they can see whether there is a missing comma or not. So this is really like the only thing that they can control, and therefore it needs to be perfect. It made me understand a little better. What would help is to share those reasonings with the people working in the firms. So I think it's not even necessary that law firms move away from their standards. I think it's more about communication and how to transport the messages, what is important and what is not.
Absolutely.
So sorry, I was like really talking too much about this leadership style thing that really moved me, you can see.
It is actually really cool that you mentioned this leadership style, because that is actually for the next person that I've planned for the podcast. He is actually an expert on leadership styles, and I'm going to ask him exactly these questions. I'm going to throw these questions out. Okay, so what do you think of this? Because he's more lenient towards the startup, the startup perspective of it. Yeah, but no, super interesting input, super interesting. I'm going to take a step back, actually. You might... Wait, let me just check. The thing is, I don't know if you've listened to Anna's podcast, but the thing is, I always allow myself 3 cliche questions per podcast.
Yeah.
Here's number 1. So of all of the things in the world, on this planet, that you could have done, Alisha, you chose to get into law. Why is that? I can really see on your face, like, did you just really ask? Okay, wait, let me step back and get it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I could give you the cliche answer to it and be like, because I hate injustice or something,
Right.
I could do that, but I do have a story. It's
okay.
It is a story. It's I don't know whether it's really great for law students to hear about it and then be inspired by me. I don't think it's very inspiring. It's really pragmatic. So first of all, in school, I, for no reason, learned Latin instead of any...
For real? That still exists? Oh, okay. So you're good in Latin?
No, I'm not good at.
What's it
I'm
called?
not good at Latin. No one is good at Latin. No one who studied Latin knows Latin.
Nobody.
Like literally no one. There are people who learned French, and they are probably also not necessarily good at it anymore. But no one who learned Latin knows Latin. And so this is what I did for, 6 years, I think.
Nice.
And always with that idea, everyone tells you, well, when you learn Latin, you can, become a medical or legal professional, and you need this for your studies. And no one needs this for any studies except you want to become a Latin teacher. This is literally the only reason you would need it.
Oh my God.
So this is what I learned, and I sort of wanted to make use of that. Then I had the second reason is I took a test. Because I was thinking about law, and I took a test, and the test said that I was very well qualified for this.
Okay.
So that was impressive because I didn't take any other tests. So
okay,
I was like, okay, well I'm overqualified.
Might as well go ahead and do it.
Might as well do it. And the third reason is that I had 2 options in mind. One was law, because I had no idea what's going on with it, but it seemed really aristocratic for some reason. And the second one was basically the opposite of it, becoming an elementary school teacher. So those were my 2 options. And then at the Freie Universität Berlin, they have like open university days where you can go and get some insights on the studies. And I went there, and I went to 2 of those events, so for elementary school teachers and for law. And those were really different events, I can tell you that. So the first one was the elementary school teacher event. I was sitting there with just women, girls, basically. We were all like 19-year-olds or 18-year-olds.
Sure.
So this was not really appealing to me, to work in such a sort of one-sided environment.
Right.
And then,
Understandable.
and then this teacher was giving us an insight, and she said, well, For example, when you're speaking to a student, a child, and you ask the child what day comes after Monday, and then the child says Sunday, you need to understand that the child knows the days of the week, but just has a problem with the prepositions after and before. Okay. And I was thinking, the child is dumb.
Fair enough, right? I'm out. Ciao.
And I was like, I don't have any patience for this. And then I left, and then I went to the Audimax, which is the biggest lecture hall, where the lecturer was giving a presentation on law studies. And it was packed, and it was a good atmosphere. Okay. And he wasn't talking about law at all. This is how he tricked me into this. He wasn't speaking of law studies. He was only telling us about how we would have an Erasmus year in Norway and looking on the fjords and not studying. And this is what he talked about. Okay. And funny thing, never went to Norway, never had Erasmus, but I stuck with law.
Right. No, sounds good. I mean, it worked out. The reason why I always ask this is because I know for a fact that a couple of students listen to this podcast is because my uncle in Indonesia, he teaches law. And he's like, yo guys, listen to this podcast to his students. So first of all, Om Yudi, hi, apa kabar? Terima kasih banyak untuk semua. And also, hey, to all the students at the Surya Kencana Universitas. But that's exactly the thing. You know, I remember when I was back in law school, and you would just be hustling every day. It'd be like, 8 hours, 9 hours at the university. You wouldn't have time for a day job or for a side job like that because you had to study. And then, of course, you would be broke, and then you'd be there. Friday night, you have put like 50 hours, and then you're just eating your rice with, I don't know, with ketchup. You're like, why the hell am I doing this again? And so it's always nice to hear, especially I think for the students especially from a high achiever, that at the end of the day you're gonna end up with a super interesting job. So yeah, that's the reason why I asked this to people like you, to Benedict.
Well, I don't think the reason that I started it was really inspiring, but definitely
But it was worth it.
It was worth it. I would say so. Yes.
Yeah. At least now, if you won't have an associate asking you, "Hey, Alisha, so what day comes after Sunday anyway?" You have a whole lot of different discussions, and also the job is way more interesting. So I guess at the end it's worth it, even if you have to put in 50 hours a week as a student.
I really hope that my future children are not ever going to listen to this. Does she think I'm dumb?
I would actually think it kind of disturbing if your future children, I don't know at what age, would be listening to a legal podcast. I don't know. I don't see me. Right. So, Alisha, this would bring me to my next point. Before you and Lena decided to become fully independent with This Is Legal Design, so you were head of legal innovation at Chelvalier in Berlin. Can you tell us a little bit about Chelvalier?
Yeah, so Chelvalier is a digital law firm for employees. So it's a labor law firm, and it originally all started with Flightride. So actually Chelvalier sort of is a branch of Flightride. Yeah, really? Some people don't know that. Okay. Of course, not the law firm itself, because law firms cannot be daughter companies to other companies. That's one of the restrictions that we have in German law.
Okay.
But it was we have two companies. So we have Chelvalier, the law firm, and we have Chelvalier, that is like the service and technology company that's supporting the law firm. But they really act as one. So from the outside, you would only see Chelvalier as one company. But this is the whole story, how it started. So they wanted to do something as similar, as easy to use for people like Flightride, but in the field of labor law, especially for people who have lost their jobs. Because really in Germany, employees have really strong rights We have good laws protecting employees, but many people don't know about it. And so this is why most people are not going against their employers when they're being fired from their jobs, usually, although they're protected. And this is what Chelvalier is doing. So it's a really service-oriented law firm. You don't have to meet your lawyer in the classic law office, but you can actually talk to them on the phone, and you have a really nice team that is supporting the clients, and it's really service-oriented. It's a great law firm, I really have to say.
Cool. And the role that you had there was head of legal innovation. Correct me if I'm. It was head of legal innovation.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard like in the structure of a law firm that somebody is the head of legal innovation. What exactly does that role entail? What exactly was your normal day to day at Chelvalier? Yeah.
So my job was really about business development for the firm. Okay. And I think for a law firm, it makes sense that someone who is also from the field of the legal profession is taking care of this business development. So what I was doing is mostly getting in new cases for the law firm. And I did that by developing partnerships. So I was really communicating a lot with our partners. I pitched to partners our concept and made deals. And then I was in touch with them, making sure that everything was running perfectly also with our teams. So I was really at the intersection of the law firm and the partners. And also developing new products. So what is it that we can also offer to you as partners, and then prospectively also to clients that come to us on other channels. So those were like my two most important functions for Chelvalier.
Okay. And if we just go about your normal day to day, I mean, I also ask this question a lot and I always get the most different answers. It's like you walk through the door on a Monday morning and what happens?
So for the past year, I've been sitting at the same spot that I'm sitting right now in home office.
Okay, fair answer. Okay. You walk through the kitchen door into your living room and then what happens?
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, I start with the coffee. But then what I always did is checking all my channels. I have a lot of communication channels. So I was getting requests from our partners. I was checking our case numbers. So I have like a dashboard where I'm checking all the numbers. And then I have requests from our team because our operations team always has to handle all the cases, and there are many questions arising from it. What is our agreement with the partners? Can I take this case? What do I do with this now? I was also handling complaints if anything happened like that. Of course, we never had any.
Of course not.
We hardly have any complaints, but if there were any, then I was handling that. So sort of making sure that everything's running smoothly with our partners. And then, honestly, every day was different. So I had some structure in it. This is basically the structure I had, communicating a lot with many different peoples because I was working at the intersection of different firms. But in general, you never knew what's happening. So the next day could be a pitch at a new partner's office, or it could it could be a workshop to come up with a new concept. So, and it could be a presentation at a conference. So I had really many different tasks there. Cool.
How do you go about these tasks? This is cliche, Alisha. This is a cliche question number 2, by the way.
Good to know.
Are you more of... I'm just always going to announce them. If you go about your tasks and you say that, if you say that every day is different, do you prefer more structure in your normal day to day, or more spontaneity, or a mix of both, dependent on the situation? What would you say?
I think it's good to have a structured approach to things. So whenever I start something new, when I start a project, I always start with a structure. I need this, and I need my general work life to be structured. I need my Trello boards. I need my project management tools that I'm using.
I feel you.
Yeah. But other than that, I think I am running best when there is a lot at the same time. It's weird because you always wish for, could I just have a focus block? I just need some time for myself where I just work and I just do my stuff. But for some reason, when you have half an hour between two appointments, this is where I get done the most.
Oh, same. Oh my, completely. Yeah, I have the same as well. I mean, I'm not really focused on law right now. The only thing that I do for in a sense, in a legal sense, is basically do this podcast and sometimes some research on competition law for Prevence. And I work in marketing mostly, which is like mostly creative, like, open office, bouncing ideas back and forth. But the thing is, and I see, especially like in marketing and startups, that you're always like, no, we don't want cubicles. We hate cubicles. Cubicles are the devil. I'm telling you one thing: if you have to write a blog article, or if you have to write on a really important email, or just some really, some really good communication, the best thing I can do is sit down in a cubicle with noise-canceling earphones and just write and just crunch for 3 hours with nobody talking to me. So yeah, exactly. The same here. I would say structure is important, spontaneity always important, kind of a mix of both. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's really interesting. Your drive can be so much better when you're really stressed.
Yeah. Things only a lawyer would say. I get it. Yeah, absolutely, I get it. I'm going to round it up. I'm going to circle back to legal tech for the final questions. What are the main challenges and bottlenecks that legal tech faces from your point of view nowadays?
So I think one of the challenges is that we're still missing the right mindset for it, among the legal field at least, to really see the benefit of it. And there's really one question that I cannot hear anymore. That's like something like, legal tech, hot or not? Is this something we need?
Oh, wow.
That the legal field thinks that we have a choice whether or not we need it. This is not the case. So I think, in fact, the digital transformation is happening and there's no way to circle it back or anything. And we really need to open up to the possibilities there are, and to also adapt our way of working that sometimes doesn't fit with technologies. So this is one of the big challenges. And what I also see is what I was speaking of earlier, the legal restrictions that we still have. So one of them would be that if I, as a law firm, want to invest into legal technology, I need to, of course, usually lend some money. It's a lot that you have to invest in new technologies, and law firms are not allowed to have investors, and this is one of the issues, I think, and also other restrictions that we have. For example, working more interprofessional is also not allowed for law firms as it should be, and I think this is just giving us some hurdles that we need to overcome in order to make legal technology part of our everyday life.
Right. Yeah. I have a quick question in between, not a cliche question, but just out of curiosity. Why you speak really impeccable English? Where did you learn? I mean, are the schools in Berlin just better? I know, but I grew up in Africa, that's why. But the thing is, like, normally if I interview people from Germany, they speak good English. Germans speak really good English in general, but I mean, yours is like really impeccable. How is that? I know you didn't learn it in Norway.
That's true.
But yeah.
But I also never lived in the States. I lived in London for 6 months. But I think, first of all, I learned it in school, just like everyone else did. I do have American heritage. So my grandfather is Afro-American. But we never lived together. So this is not how I learned it. I think it's really just a big interest in the English language at all. That makes you become better at it. Also, I dated an American for 2 years. I think that also helped. English-speaking relationship.
True, absolutely.
But
helped me a lot as well, actually.
Yeah, and also studied. I studied in Amsterdam for a year, and that was also in English.
Cool. Okay, cool.
But thank you very much.
No, I just noticed. The last time we had, who was it, Robbie? Yeah, it was Robbie Boucherie, and I thought he was just like a guy from Cologne, and his English was it was better than mine. And I'm like, wait, this never happened. No, but so I was just wondering. Let's get back to the point. Wait, let me see. Where were we? Right. Alisha, at the end of the day, right, we can talk about legal tech and all its benefits, but for whom is legal tech actually, for whom does it pose the biggest benefit?
I think for clients and customers.
Yeah, that's exactly. I
really think that's the case. Maybe this is also one of the reasons that it's so hard to bring it onto the legal market, because to be honest, this market is not a customer-centric market.
Oh, thank you for saying it so placatively. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Should be though.
Okay.
It should be.
It should be, as any market actually is, But yeah. Okay.
Well, but we're already struggling with defining it as a market. When you listen to some people, they are not even calling it a market.
Yeah.
If you just refuse to call it a market, then of course you can also refuse the fact that you have customers, and then you also don't have to be customer centric, and then you also don't need to introduce legal technology that would actually make things so much easier for your customers. But this is why I'm thinking of and speaking of the mindset issue that we're still struggling with here.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing. I know for a fact that you and Lina Kravitz, you have already, it's already been a while. You've started your own company a long time ago. Wait, let me rephrase. You already started This Is Legal Design a while back, but now you went into it full time.
That's true.
How is that? I think this is actually a story for itself. I think maybe we could do an own podcast on that, but just can you give us like a brief overview of how the first months of standing on your own 2 feet with a company that you love, how has that been for you?
So first of all, I'm very happy to come back with Lina for a second episode.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Second of all, Lina has been doing this for over a year in full time already. And I have literally joined this week.
What? Okay.
Yes.
This week.
I
thought it'd been long. Okay.
Well,
so how's this first week been for you?
No one knows yet. Of course, I've been... I'm serious. I'm going to announce it next week. So when this podcast comes out, it's already going to be announced.
Nice. You heard it here first, guys.
Yes, you're the first one to know.
Cool.
This is also why I left Chelvalier, because I am now working full time for my own company. Of course, over the past year, I've already been part of this legal design. I've also worked on projects already, but now I'm really giving it all my energy and all my focus. Cool. And I am so excited. It's so much fun. So the first week has already been amazing. It's so interesting. We have a variety of different clients. So it's sort of like the German Legal Tech Association, where we really see the diversity of the market. This is also the case for our clients. So we thought that we would only talk to law firms and legal departments. And of course, there's still our focus customer group. But there are so many other players out there that have legal touch points and that need services. And so what we do mostly is of course, also for law firms, for legal departments, for alternative legal service providers. And this is something that we do. And we also are planning to start an academy. So we want to teach the skills that are needed, because we feel like it's so important to have impact by bringing this mindset and the skills to the legal professionals, instead of just telling them what to do. We need to teach it. So this is going to be the next big thing that we're going to put our focus on.
Amazing. Sounds super exciting. And yes, if you guys want to come back for a second podcast, specifically on This is Legal Design, we'd love to have you for sure.
And we'd love to come back.
Awesome. Nice. Let's circle back. No, wait, let's do the closing argument, so to speak. And this is my cliche question number 3 with announcement. Alisha, last question. How do you measure success?
How do we measure success? So for me, success means that I accomplish the things that I am striving for. This is what success is to me. So I am not necessarily measuring success in how much money I'm making. If I am striving for visibility and I put my work into it, so I publish articles, I publish content, I talk to people, and then a guy like you comes around and is asking me to be a guest at a podcast, honestly, that's a success for me, because that shows me that I have been visible to guys like you.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing. But of course, I'm a business owner. Of course, I want to make money, and making bank.
True. Gotta make that bank, though. Yeah.
I want to make dollars. Get in papers.
Same here.
So of course, when this is what I am putting my energy into, when I'm talking to possible potential clients, when I go out there and I market my products, of course I'm measuring success also in how many clients did I get, how much money did I make. It just really depends on what is it that I put my focus and energy on, and do I accomplish that, then I am successful.
Yeah, same. Cool. I think if I would put it together in my own words, for me is also success would be making money, but having fun while making money. I heard about you guys from Anna, actually, because the thing is, this is how I generate my leads. Is basically I ask people in my podcast, hey, do you know any other cool people that I could interview? And then Anna was like, yeah, I know Alisha, I know Lena, I know Benedict, and I was like, and then I was looking you guys up, and I was like, man, these guys really know their shit. But then I wrote you, and you're also these really easygoing personalities. And then you were like, yeah, Don, yeah, for sure, let's do a podcast. And I was like, you know what? That is success for me. It's like, yeah, I have high profile guests who are also cool. I see that as an absolute win. You know what I mean?
Aww.
So, yeah.
We're getting cheesy.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We should cut it. This is a legal podcast after all. We don't have room for emotion here. No. Alisha, thank you so much for joining us today. This was extremely fun. Do you have any last words to any law students or anything? Any closing statement?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I always like to say is, especially to people who are right now struggling in their law studies, because I know there's so many who really don't feel right, who think that they're not belonging there. And to those people, keep going, because even when you're not going to stay in the traditional legal field, it doesn't matter, because the jobs that you're going to make in the future maybe are not even invented yet. And just keep doing what you like doing, figure out what it is, and then become good at it. And then the jobs will follow.
And that's it. I think we should just open with that statement. We're going to get them clicks, though. Alisha, thank you so much for joining us for this podcast. It was super fun. And for all you people listening, go to This is Legal Design. They're based in Berlin, or just hit up Alisha or Lena on LinkedIn. And thank you so much. This is it. We're out.
Prevence Podcast.